I don't know what's wrong with the internet on here. My dad's computer seems to work fine. My sister's phone logs in, but my phone and my laptop don't seem to connect. It says that all the channels are not secure, and it doesn't let me use the internet. Although, yeah, there was one page that it did get up, so I think there is some. It has connected. It's just I don't know, but I'm probably have to go to Weatherspoons to upload these videos. But yes, I went to the swimming pool and I was just thinking about the justice system and just how unjustified it is. And, I don't really know about all the cases that go on, but I genuinely believe that the justice system is actually probably full of the most evilest people in the world who are trying to take other people who have committed crimes and use justice as a way of, one, making money for themselves, two, acting like gods, acting like they're doing, God's work or getting justice, helping people. But really, they're actually just fucking people over by giving them unfair sentences and not seeing both sides. Really, if you go to court, both sides should see both sides. It shouldn't be one side fighting another side in hopes of making money out of it. It should be both sides being understanding to the situation, both sides. Courtrooms seem to be more about a war, a battle between this side versus that side, and that just seems like the justice system. That is the justice system, and to me, it's a religion. The justice system is a religion. It's people having a belief on what suffering is. People believing that if you've committed A, B, or C crimes, you should go, for this length of time. And it's just completely injustice. That's not justice. Justice is knowing the details about the crimes, knowing how much responsibility the victim should play a part in this happening. If someone is drunk and flirting with someone all day and then is taken back and raped, that is a very different kind of scenario to someone that's literally just walked off of streets and had someone attack them out of a bush. That those are two completely different things. And yet I feel like the justice system doesn't necessarily understand this. And also, if someone has gone through lots of trauma and abuse, I feel like a lot of them won't put any acknowledgement into that. And the justice system is a very cruel, hard, harsh thing. And I think a lot of people like to hear cases that are bad, and they might relate it to other cases that are bad, and link them being the same thing when really that they're completely different things because the circumstances were different. And it's just, the justice system is a religion, because it's people claiming that they know what they're doing, what's best. But really it's all just a belief. It's belief. I believe that this is right. Like listening to some of, I didn't listen to that documentary, but there was one or two people that that came forth and said that R. Kelly was a vicious monster, the worst monster that you could come at, a vicious predator, you know. And I don't think they realize that calling someone these things, the worst person in the world, when really all they were doing is taking advantage of fans that seem to love them, seem to admire them, to say that they are the worst predators. So you've got all the bad people that literally beat up people and rape strangers, and you've got a long list of bad people, even just crimes such as just making money off people suffering. Lawyers do that. They take people who probably don't have much of a case and say, hey, I'll give you time if you give me money. There's a lot of criminals, I think, that are in the lawyer in this system, in the justice system, and they use justice as a way of making money. And that to me that sounds like a religion. They say, I'm going to do all this and I'm going to do it in the name of God. And justice is just like a religion, and only instead of using the word God, you use the word justice. And it's not about justice, because everyone has a different view on what justice is. There's someone who can get attacked, and then 5 years later we find out who did it, and they want justice, and they want that person to rot in hell and go to prison. And it's just like, is that justice? Is that justice? You went through a horrible experience, and it's you would have felt bad and it wasn't good. But did you end up in hospital? Was it really that bad? Or are you just taking something that was really bad and now you want the other person to not just go through something bad, but go through something traumatically bad that's going to ruin their whole life? Being in prison, even just for a year, you will always remember that experience. You know, whether you're 40, 50, 60, you will always remember being in prison for a whole year. And maybe it is justice. You know, a lot of crimes, that is the justified time period, a year, 2, 3. And so justice can be truth. You know, there is truth in the Bible, there is truth in Christianity, but there's also a lot of lies. And I feel like justice is a religion. It's man's newest religion. And so I'd love to make a tab card where I actually add that as part of, you know, in the religious section I've got like God the Father and all this, and justice is just the same. People, I work for justice, I try and do what's best for justice, but at the end of the day, it's all their belief. It's their belief on what justice is. And I don't think they can understand justice unless you actually know how awful it is to be in to be a criminal, to be convicted, to have people say that you are a vile predator monster, is disgusting, and you know, you deserve to rot in hell, when really you're just looking back and thinking, I was just drunk at the time. I don't know. I wanted sex. These girls loved me. And, you know, they might not see it in the same way that you see it. Hence, therefore, the justice system is nothing more than a religion. And yeah, like even criminals that try and bring drugs over from, you know, from one country to another. I mean, might actually be it might actually be for themselves. You know, if you go down to South America and you come back with a big punch of drugs, that could actually just be your monthly supply, and yet because it's enough, you know, for a bit a day or something, you know, it actually counts as something that you could use to supply and pass on. I mean, or maybe you might pass it on to a friend or two, but at the same time, you could get a huge long sentence, and therefore justice is a religion, because it's like, well, is that really justified? Taking someone's life and freedom and you know, take everything away from them just because they wanted to get high on a few drugs? You know, it's like, it's a religion. Is that right or is that wrong? You know, there's right in it and there's wrong in it. You know, drugs do cause problems, but putting people in prison and taking their life away, that also ruins lives. That also makes people suicidal. How many people have gone on and tried to sell drugs to make some money, gone into prison, been attacked in prison, had terrible things happen to them in prison, feeling like scum, and maybe even commit suicide over it? You know, it's just, justice is a religion, and therefore I want to add that. I can't do it now because I haven't got my computer. This is my Chromebook, but when I get back, I'm going to add justice. The good in it is people getting justice. The bad in it is demons trying to punish people as much as they possibly can under the name of justice. People claiming to be like gods and trying to get justice for the better good, when really they're just trying to make money out of it, whilst pretending that they're, you know, there's loads of people in churches that are pretending to do what's good for God, and yet they're actually just making money from it. And, you know, I know that the governments don't tax charitable or religious organizations, and I get that, because they don't want to make money off lies, and that's what religion is. It's people making money off lies. And the justice system can be the same, because there's so many people that sue each other over things that are not really that justified, and being allowed to justify going to court and having all these problems. You know, this is part of the problem, and it's a religion that people have created to try and solve a problem. But a lot of people are just using this religion, this justice system, as a way of making money. And yeah, I think if I was to change things, I would have it so that you have the person speak out about what the crimes are. You list all the crimes, and then you ask people, now, would you rather have these crimes committed on you, or would you rather go to jail for 10 years? Now, if they say that if we would rather have these crimes committed on us than go to jail for 10 years, then you know that you're not serving justice. You're actually serving revenge and anger and just wanting to hurt someone. Whereas if you said to people, what would you rather, have this happen to you or go to jail for 3 years? Then you might be like, well, I'm kind of 50-50. You know, if some people say, oh, I'd rather go to jail for 3 years than have that happen to me. And if some people say, no, actually, I'd rather have that happen to me, then I watched a clip of Madonna the other day making a joke about how when she came to New York, she was so broke that she was willing to offer blowjobs for a guitar lesson. You know, I think she was joking. I don't think she was serious about that. But you know, there's some people that can joke and be serious. You know, it's not that much giving a blowjob to have guitar lessons so you can become, you know, something that so you can get something out of it. And then there's other people that are, you know, tricked into kind of giving blowjobs when they're drunk, and then they could go on and make out that they were abused and had terrible things when really it's just like it's only that. It's get over it, get over it, you know. Um, and and yeah, if you think that someone being forced to give someone a blowjob justifies putting that person in prison for 4 or 5 years, is that justice? Is that justice? Is that justice? No, that is you thinking this person is a horrible, nasty scumbag, and we're gonna try and hurt them as much as we can justify it. It's not about justifying someone a crime that's committed. It's about just you trying to commit a crime on someone whilst trying to justify committing that crime on them.